Have you ever wondered why, even with the abundance of knowledge we have out there to help farmers improve their production and methods of farming, there is little or no progress at all? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you why this is so and how you can use my 3-part system to set yourself above other struggling farmers. Well, most farming experts are wrong about this. They think farmers fail because they lack a knowledge. But in reality, most farmers fail because of poor decision systems, not lack of information. You know what I've realized after talking to dozens of farmers and listening to countless farming experts are most experts believe farmers fail because they don't know enough. So they keep giving out more training, more workshops, more videos, more informations. See farmers go and attend these seminars, they attend workshops, they attend agricultural shows, trade shows, and many other meetings where they receive information that is of course relevant to their gardening experience. They come out so excited by the help that is coming out from these meetings that and that they help to redeem themselves from the failing gardens or improve their existing failing gardens that they have. So they write notes and pile books of this relevant information from time to time, but eventually do not put it into practice. And their gardens have the same old practices and are not even yielding them better results that they should be having in their gardens. But here's what I have seen on ground. A farmer can tell you how to exactly mix a fertilizer. They can tell you how to rotate the crops and when to irrigate. But when the season starts, everything starts to fall apart. And it's not because that they forget what to do. It's because they don't have a system to make decisions when things start to get real. Things that get practical. They don't have a system that they can put into place to make sure these things are working. So see, farming does not necessarily fail because of what you don't know. It fails because of what you can't manage consistently, because you don't have a working system that you're able to track. See, because the real edge isn't about more knowledge, it's about making better decisions and having decision systems that help you to make those decisions. So that's the most important part that most experts miss out and are not telling very many farmers. They're not helping farmers to with frameworks that can help them implement information that is given out. There is no way you can keep improving your gardening experience if you don't have a system in place that can help you to produce those desired results. You can't see where your mistakes are. Your evaluation process also becomes a bit harder because you don't have an implementation system. There are 3 implementation systems I believe you need for your gardening business to be a success. And please, I want you to notice this, that I am not being negative about farmers getting information and attending these meetings where they get information. But usually my heart breaks when we have a lot of information out there, but there's little progress that is seen with the farmers out there. Because still after attending these gatherings, most farmers stay on their rudiment and old ways of producing and growing and don't see any progress that is happening at all. And that's what keeps breaking me. But I'm not against attending farm meetings. You need to keep yourself improving and knowing more and more information and equipping yourself. But let's see where the true success of vegetable farming business comes in relation to systems. Then I'll share with you the 3 systems every garden farmer needs to know to help them implement and also learn faster. The thing that brings success about your vegetable gardening experience is you need to realize success faster, because success of any vegetable business depends on 20% knowledge and 80% character and resilience. Because you see, farming is not all about having good knowledge. It is the character and resilience a farmer must build to become good at what they do. It's about the things you put into practice over time to get your desired results. So it's the things that make you an expert at what you do, because anyone can become an expert to grow a vegetable that they want. You don't need you don't need a course. Of course, we need to equip ourselves, but it's more of what you do in practice that really matters. And it also shapes what you eventually learn when you go to do a course, because the information you get needs time to be put into a gardening process that works. It needs to be a part of how you do things every other time. So every information that you learn must be part of the system. You're not just learning things. You need to learn information that is going to fit in the system of how you do things in your garden. So when you learn about a new pruning method, you're not going to just apply it once and then forget about it in other seasons. You will need to apply it over and over again for it to become part of the things that you do in your gardening experience. So it will need to find its place in a process of production. You will need a system. You can't do this if you don't have a framework of how you of growing that you follow there every after and then because as we encourage farmers to take on the best practices, we should give honest advice that of how it will require these things for you to be able to realize the results that you are supposed to be getting, not just receiving information. So knowledge is very, very relevant and necessary. You are usually one idea away from setting yourself apart from another mediocre farmer that is struggling out there because you know something. Yes, you're just one idea away from being the successful farmer that you want. So knowledge is very, very, very relevant. You need to always be on the lookout of information that makes you a better farmer. And those seminars and those seminars and agriculture shows, listening to radio programs, reading articles like my articles I write, or my YouTube videos, and making friends with other farmers that are also doing gardening out there is very, very, very important. But always remember this one thing, that you don't know something until you put it into practice. That's why I'm emphasizing having a practical system that helps you do and put these things into practice. So you need to get into the culture of practicing the information you get there, most especially if it fits your experience and resources and has a really a potential of making you a better farmer. So plan for it. If you don't have enough money to put into practice, what you've learned, you need to at least plan for that thing before you just leave it to pile in the books. And experimenting and continuous implementation separates successful farmers, by the way, from those that are failing. There are people who are successful are always experimenting things in their gardening experience to learn better ways of producing. Some of these practices are not, of course, done every day, and you can easily forget them. They only happen once in a season. For example, you may not need to prune your tomatoes from transplant to harvest. It's supposed to be done timely. So you need a system that allows you to practice these activities over and over again until they become part of your process and system of production. For you to become successful, because you need, by the way, system of production that you do in your garden. And so you need to map out this way of how you do things. Every farmer has a unique way of how they produce. And that's why I emphasize every other time, you need to go into the garden and really do the practice. So a system that allows you to keep adjusting and improving your methods of production from time to time. You need that system always in your garden that is helping you to become better. So in my growing career and as a consultant, there are 3 systems that I have realized that will help any farmer put into practice the information they learn. And this is the system I'm going to share with you, and I'll be finishing up with this video. So most of the gardening information you will learn out there will fall into 3 systems. Align, and you'll need to align every information or practical skill you learn in those seminars and meetings accordingly, so that it fits your process of growing. So every system falls into these 3 that I'm going to share with you. So number 1, a sustainable business plan. This quote I got from marigold farmers in Thailand, and they say that the trick to sustaining a farm and prospering is to understand the entire growing process and supply chain. You need to understand, for you to be successful in your vegetable garden, you need to understand the entire process from seed up to the markets. That is really very, very important, because every activity and input is a cost on your side. A sustainable business plan is the first part on a system every serious farmer should have before they start. And most farmers don't treat their gardens as a business, because and if they do so, usually they don't act like this, like it, and this is costing them a lot. If you don't treat your vegetable garden as a business you started, you will never be deliberate about any activity you do in the garden. And did you know that there is a price that is attached to every activity you do and any input you have in your garden? But if you did not know that, every activity that you do in your garden is attached to a certain cost. So you have to pay. Remember, you have to pay for people that work in your gardens. The seeds you buy, they have a cost. The fertilizer have a cost. The pesticides have a cost. So you manage your costs by managing your activities and inputs. That's why you need to have a sustainable business plan as part of your systems as a beginner farmer. That's how a sustainable business plan comes in as a system. It's a plan that helps you continuously manage your costs through evaluating your activities and inputs and helping you have a progress, improving in the preceding other growing seasons. Because it's a sustainable system is just not only for one season, it helps you even improve in other growing seasons. It's something that you continue to improve every other time. But how do we implement this? Let me show you how you can come up with a sustainable system. Since you started, this is what you are going to do first for you to come up with a good sustainable business plan as a system. Number one, you need to understand your good agriculture practices that are involved in producing a vegetable crop that you are working out on. So since you started this as a business, you will need to know the numbers. And you will need to know how much money every activity you do costs and what are your expected returns from this. Because if you don't do this, you will hate your gardening experience when you realize you're spending too much money yet getting little from the very, very venture that you started. So number one, these are the steps that you start for when you're arranging the different activities out in your garden. So you need to first, number one, you need to set up your production objectives. So calculate what amount of harvest your land can produce and find out what's your expected returns in monetary terms from it. And number two, identify the main activities now in the cropping cycle. Number one, I said just calculate how much money can you generate from this land if you're growing this vegetable crop. How much money can you generate? Number two, you need to identify the main activities in the crop cycle and lay them from seed to harvest. You need to know different activities, land preparation, planting. You need to write them down. Then, number three, you need to break down the activities, the details for those activities. For example, if your activity was land preparation, you need to break down for clarity that land preparation is going to involve what? Land clearing. It was going to involve plowing. It's going to involve basal fertilization, the fertilizers that you apply at the start. So then the next one, number four, I guess, determine the resources needed for each activity and when the activity will be carried out. For example, for bed preparation, you need mulch as a material. It is needed in the first week. So you need to plan for that. You know the activity, details of the activity, know the resources that are needed in that time, and then know when they will be needed. Then the other thing you need to do is compute the inputs that are needed for that activity to be carried out. You need to compute labor. How much are you going to pay labor? How much are you going to pay for fertilizers? How much are you going to pay for pesticides? How much are you going to pay for the seed? You need to now allow yourself to have all those costs. Estimate them, most especially if you're a beginner farmer. If you are a farmer who has now already been in experience, you can evaluate from there. Evaluate from what you've been doing from start to finish, and really make sure you have a business plan written down on paper. I emphasize that you need to write this down on paper. Then because this is how you're going to assess yourself every time. If you don't have this system in your gardening experience, you'll be making losses upon losses every other time. So you need to write this down on paper, so that every other season that you're working out, you follow this written plans. Of course, you reach a time when it's part of your system in the head. You know what to do, but you need to write it down on paper. because doing this allows you to evaluate each activity in your garden, and you know how worth is that activity, so that you can keep in check with its effects on your returns. Because if you don't, like I said, every activity is a cost. When you don't evaluate every activity as a cost, you will keep on making very big mistakes. You will not be deliberate about even every activity you do. So you'll be serious if it's pruning. You know, pruning is a cost. You'll prune with all utmost deliberate vigilance in your garden. So if you learn any new information or practical skill from a seminar, you know where this fits in your process of production. If you have a sustainable business plan, you are able to calculate its worth and overall effect on your profits. So this system helps you implement new ideas into your garden while you're calculating the risks on your profits, so that you're not making uninformed decisions. So every activity that is coming, it is coming with a cost, so you're able to evaluate it in terms of profits, and not just putting the activity in your garden. That's learning, then you put it there immediately. As it comes, you evaluate it, whether it is worth and its effects on your profits. Will it improve your profits? If you can quantify it, you also need to state that. So there are system that is under a sustainable business plan. You need to have a system that allows you assess the skill of your labor that you are employing on your gardening, because the next part of your business plan is your team. Besides you having the next part is your team. So because I'll share shortly on this, since I have quite a lot of information, of course, out there in my previous videos I have shared about this, that the people that work for you, of course, are very, very important, whether they have a skill or not. So you need to take time every season and evaluate whether the people working in your garden have the right expertise to do the work. You see, when new ideas come in, if you are not directly involved in the work, make sure they follow the instructions to the dot, because they're the people that are working directly in your garden. If new information you're learning at the seminar is coming in, and you yourself, you don't know what happens in the garden, the people that are working for you should know what to do. So you need to check through the different stages of production to see whether the team is doing the work very, very well. Like I said, every activity, do they know how to transplant? Do they know how to apply fertilizer? Do they know how to apply pesticides and when to do that? Because if you don't do that, you'll be making very many mistakes. This will require you, of course, as the owner of the vegetable business, to have this basic knowledge of how the business works. You should not just be there redundant. You should get involved. If you're not present, at least employ someone skilled enough to follow through, and make sure you get feedback on what is really happening in your garden. Because if you're not employing someone technical to help you with the management, be involved to know what really happens. At least know the basic information of what happens in your farm. It is your business. You started, and it is going to cost you that you started a business and you don't know what really happens in your business. It's like you didn't start anything. So the second system that you need, besides a sustainable business plan, you need a fertilizer schedule system. Because you see, the total harvest you get from your crops is a representative of how you feed your crops through your soils. So your harvests are the top goal for which your vegetable business runs. This is where your profits come from eventually. You will need a fertilizer system that allows your crops to access the right fertilizer that will give you the harvest that you desire from your vegetable crop. So a system that ensures that the right fertilizers are supplied efficiently, used to even to get the maximum results in your garden. So for organic fertilizers, these are like naturally derived from the decomposed remains of plants, animals, such as compost, manure, bone meal, blood meal, and many more of those. You just need to make sure they are applied at critical stages throughout the crop's life cycle. So any new ideas about organic fertilizers have to always fit that system, where you map out the different critical stages. You have vegetative, you have flowering, and then fruit. Of course, in my different videos, I've talked about these different critical stages. Every farmer should know that the crop has 3 critical stages: the vegetative, the flowering, and the fruiting. The vegetative, where it's developing its stems and leaves and then groups, then the flowering, where the flowers start to blossom, then the fruiting when we start to have now fruits coming up in our garden. You need to know those, you need to have that system first. So it is specific to the vegetable crop that you go. If you're going tomatoes, you should know that you have 3. If you're going cabbages, you just know you need only 2. You need the vegetable, only you need 1. Don't even need the flowering cabbages. You need the vegetative part only. So you need to apply in your system. You need to apply fertilizers according to that system. You need to apply fertilizers according to the critical stages. So though it is important for you to make a blend with inorganic fertilizers for maximum yields, I was talking about only organic fertilizers. So for inorganic fertilizers, these are usually synthetic fertilizers or chemical fertilizers that are man-made, that provide essential plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus. For these ones are chemically made from the industry, and they provide these specific nutrients for the plant for you to access them readily. So you need this to apply these in the right blends. Of course, I share more about this in my previous videos about how to apply fertilizers very, very well. You can check them out. So the system of application that will yield you results is the use of the 4 R's, which is the right time, the right source, and the right rate, and the right place. Besides you having the critical stages, the plant has to use the fertilizer efficiently. So you need these 4 R's to help you. So any new information or idea or skill that you learn from these seminars you attend to implement on your garden has to fit the 4 R's. Because let me describe shortly what I mean by the 4 R's. The first one is the right time. So for fertilizers to be used efficiently, make sure that we first find out the economic critical stages a vegetable crop you're growing undergoes before you start to grow. There are 3 critical stages for crops, and these include, like I said, the vegetative state. This is when the crop develops the first leaves and stems and roots. The flowering, this is when the flowers from which the fruits emerge start to form. Then the fruiting stage, this is when the fruits form from at harvest time. So usually most farmers commercially apply compound fertilizer, NPK, DAP, CAN, and the different stages anyhowly. But if possible, you can access crop specific fertilizers for your vegetable. It will do the work better. But usually farmers are using these conventional ones. But if you can get the crop specific one, then it will do for you wonders. Or apply a compound fertilizer at the beginning, then complete with a foliar fertilizer. At the start, apply an NPK compound fertilizer. Those that I mentioned: NPK, DAP, CAN, and MOP, and those other fertilizer blends. You can apply that at the start, then apply for the foliar fertilizer the rest of the growing journey at the critical stages. So at the vegetative, you can apply an NPK, a DAP, then in between there, the first portion of vegetative, you can apply a foliar, then flowering a foliar, then fruiting also a foliar. So a foliar fertilizer is a liquid fertilizer that is sprayed on the leaves to access nutrients. So yeah, that is really very, 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 very important. So write down the critical stages of the crop. For example, if you're going to grow tomatoes, you'll need 3. You're interested in 3 critical stages for you to have the harvest that you want. So you need the vegetative stage that happens the first 3 weeks after transplant. Then the flowering stage starts to come in 3 to 5 weeks after transplant. Then the last stage starts to come in 5 to 8 weeks after transplant. That is fruit set and development. So fertilizers are applied at these stages are very important because there are specific nutrients that are needed for each phase to make sure that the desired crop parts develop as they ought to. So this pushes us to the next R, which is the right source. The fertilizer to be provided should have the nutrients required for at each stage, because still on tomatoes, for example, find out the right fertilizer source for the specific crop you have chosen. So vegetative fertilizers rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, for example NPK, DAP, CAN should be applied at this stage, the vegetative stage. So at transplant, then 2 weeks after transplant. That's how you split your doses for application. Apply an NPK at transplant, then 2 weeks after transplant you can apply a CAN. to make sure at least the structures develop, because also you need a calcium. You can 2 weeks after transplant, you can also apply, if you don't have CAN, you can also apply a foliar fertilizer after 2 weeks of transplant. So the next is the flowering stage, where need a fertilizer that is balanced, with a fertilizer with balanced NPK, especially having phosphorus and boron. Here, foliar fertilizer rich in these nutrients does the work very well at flowering stage. So so the next one is the fruiting stage. Fertilizer with potassium, calcium. Let's apply potassium and calcium usually do the work here. So you need a fertilizer that is rich in those nutrients to give you the work that you need, to give you the fruit, quality of fruit that you need. The other 4R is the right rate. So applying the right amounts required by the plant at this stage is very, very important, so that you don't over or under fertilize, which may cause other effects in the soil or to the plant, leading to harvest losses. So amounts to apply are usually recommended by soil test, or you can simply read the packaging material of the fertilizer to show you the right amounts to use in case you did not do the soil test. So the last one is the right place. If a fertilizer is applied at a place where the plant cannot access it, you waste it and usually don't get the results that you want from the garden. So I don't recommend farmers broadcasting, by the way, the fertilizers throughout the garden, because that only wastes it. Some of the fertilizers is placed at a point where the crop does not access it, or will never even access it at a point in time, because you're just broadcasting, you're giving fertilizers for the weeds to grow. So you need to use a ring method to apply green fertilizers around the crop, but 2 centimeters away. So have a ring, apply fertilizer at least 2 centimeters away. So if a foliar fertilizer if a fertilizer is to be used, make sure you fully wet the leaves of a plant for maximum results. So yeah, that's very, very important. So let's move to the last system. You so far shared 2 systems: making a sustainable business plan and having a fertilizer schedule for your system. These are my 3 parts. So the last one, the system that you need for your vegetable garden to be a success, you need a pest and disease management system. So controlling a disease or pests costs way more than preventing it. That's why you need a management system. You will need a system that allows you to reduce the effects of pests and diseases in your gardens every season. So always remember this, that every time your vegetable crop is in the garden, there is a pest or disease somewhere in the field ready to feast on it, or has already started if the crop is in the garden. Of course, for those that have maybe done technical study, there are 3 aspects by which a disease must come. There should be a susceptible host, the agent that causes the disease, and then or the disease itself, or the agent that causes the disease, or the environment should be appropriate. So those 3 factors are, when they are prevalent, a disease always has to happen in your garden. Because now here I'm focusing mainly on the susceptible host. Every time you plant a crop in your garden, make sure you just know the disease is somewhere ready to feast. How preventive measures, because we can never have a disease-free field. For disease to happen, like I've said, there must be the susceptible host, which is your vegetable crop. Once it is there, just know the disease is somewhere ready to feast. So every strategy given to work on pests and diseases is either preventive or control. When you go to the workshops and they give you information about controlling diseases, so you should ask yourself, is this a control strategy or a preventive strategy? And you should also ask its timely application and how to use it, because this will affect the yield of that you desire, or the results that you desire from your garden. So when you get new information out there, like I've said, it will be, ask yourself again whether it is preventive strategy or it's a control strategy. Because if you don't know this, you will make wrong decisions. Before you apply it in your garden, ask yourself the question, is this preventive? I think I've ever said this. Is it preventive or a control strategy? Because if you don't do so, you will continue applying a pesticide, and yet a disease or pest will just continue increasing in population, destroying all your garden. So, because I said here, we are looking at now getting information from there on how to apply it to your system. So for pesticides, it's determined by the active ingredient in it. The active ingredient is always written on the packaging material. Of course, I think I'll make another video someday about how to use active ingredients to know whether this pesticide is a control or a preventive. So, but usually you see like metalaxyl, like mancozeb, and I'm forgetting the other names. But preventive pesticides are usually called contacts, and control pesticides are usually called systemic. When you're going to look out information there in the field, usually those are the names they can use: a contacts or a systemic. So you need to know the active ingredients so that you can know what you are doing. You need to know this active, because the active ingredient in a pesticide will either determine either the pesticide is a control or preventive pesticides. You need to know this information out there. If you need maybe to create a video about active ingredients, please share in the comments below, and I'm able to make a separate video about active ingredients and how they and how to use them to be able to have control and reduce diseases in our garden. Others, let me continue. Because the earlier you prevent a disease in your garden from affecting your garden at large, the better you make profits. So you will have to put preventive strategies into a place at the start of every season, or you'll have to adjust according to weather changes or signs and symptoms on your crops for you to reduce the losses that you make in your garden. So preventive strategies are very, very important. So preventive strategies for insects, you can apply things like sticky traps. You need to insert them in your garden immediately after transplant, or you can use pheromone traps for insects. Also need to insert them immediately after transplant, or you can use them at the start. You can use a mixture of contact plus preventive pesticides in your garden. Apply them on your crops 14 days after transplant for 2 consecutive weeks, like this week after the other week. Apply the pesticide in your garden. Then apply when signs and symptoms are available. When you see signs and symptoms in your garden, you apply the pesticides also. So also apply according to prevailing weather conditions. When you start to see weather conditions are not really okay, apply the pesticides. Then for diseases, use a mixture of preventive and contact pesticides. Apply maybe like for tomatoes, for you to prevent diseases. For example, late blight in your garden earlier before, at least get a pesticide that has both contact and preventive, and then you spray it in your garden at least the first 2 weeks after transplant. Can either get a mancozeb, and usually in Uganda I've seen people use a Indofil. I'm not seen, but most farmers here for tomatoes use Indofil. But the other if you just know the active ingredients, better it does you the work. Because different people are selling out there their pesticides, but you don't know what. So you need to know like the list of active ingredients. Some active ingredients are control, some active ingredients are preventing. They are contact, some are systemic. By systemic I mean they enter within either the insect or they enter within the plant to reduce the effects of the disease. That is systemic. The contact, they only affect the surface. That's why I said you should know, because sometimes farmers apply only contact, set the disease has already penetrated the plant. So you need to, at the first 2 weeks, apply after transplant, when at least the plant has developed its first 2 leaves, apply both a contact and a mix of a contact, or there are pesticides that do both apply. For tomatoes, I think I've seen a Harvester XL do the work for me. But yeah, you need to look out on that information and make informed decisions. So also you need to also apply when you see for disease, you see when signs and symptoms are starting to be visible. When you see your garden, you're scouting, when you see one plant has an effect, you need to look out, ask your agronomist or some other farmer that is doing the same crop you're going to give the information to relevant about that. Then lastly, you need to apply according to prevailing weather conditions. If it is raining a lot, maybe for tomatoes, I give an example because I've got tomatoes at least for practically as an expert for that for quite a time. But yeah, I help out with other crops, but mainly I'm dealing with tomatoes. I'm not dealing with tomatoes. I've done tomatoes practically for many farmers. So when it is raining, at least you expect early blight. You need to apply a pesticide that counteracts early blight. When it is too hot, at least you have insects around that can bring diseases. So you need to apply a pesticides accordingly. So those are the 3-part system every farmer needs to know. You need to have a sustainable business plan. You need to have a fertilizer schedule system and a pest management system. Because this is what other farming experts aren't telling me about. Otherwise, thank you for watching. If you're struggling to start up your vegetable garden, I have a guide. You can check it out in the description below. We're able to work out very well. Of course, I also released a video on how to make a sustainable business plan. In this video, I shared about it in short, but I have details of it in a video that is on my YouTube. Please check it out. I think it will be the video after this. And it will help you, or you can just get into my description and you get the video there. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Let's meet in the next video.